Off the top of your head, what do you think the poorest country in the world is? Most people I've spoken to have said India, but they would be wrong. Hi, my name is Kevin Joy. I'm in 8th grade, and you might be wondering why I have a different last name. I have a different last name because I'm from India. In India, Joy is actually a common last name. I'm telling you all these things because I'm going to tell you all the amazing things about India. People always think that India is a poor country, but it's actually not. Did you know there's a lot of famous people from India? One of these people is Mahatma Gandhi, who was a leader of Indian nationalism and ultimately an inspiration to the world for his wise ideas. Also, have you ever heard of Khan Academy? All the Portchester schools use this website to help teach math. His mom is from India, so that's another amazing inventor from an Indian background. India is actually a really beautiful place. There's a lot of farmlands and lakes that have beautiful scenery and beautiful landmarks like the Taj Mahal. Another beautiful thing to see in India is Diwali. This is the Hindu festival of light, celebrating every year. On the night, the whole sky is lit from thousands of candles and bright fireworks. India has an amazing family culture. The families always stick together and they are known by one family name. For example, my uncles, aunts, cousins, and grandparents are also known as the name Varamala. This makes me feel great and makes me feel proud. I know this that my family is very strong and we will always support each other no matter what. I want to tell you all the amazing things about India because people have made me feel like India is a bad thing. They have told me that I'm poor and that I'm a terrorist. All these things are not true and made me realize it is important to educate the others about my culture. I hope you learned something new today and think twice before making an assumption about me or my amazing home India.
Have you felt so emotional inside that you were going to explode? I felt this way, all because of someone who was cyberbullying me. My name is Natasha Mariquin, and I'm 13 years old. Did you know over 3.2 billion students get bullied per year? 43% of that number is cyberbullying. I'm here to tell you how I was one of those 43% and how to deal with this kind of terrible situation. It all started at the end of the school year in 7th grade. I was bullied by a boy whose name I will keep anonymous, so we can call him Timothy. Timothy was dating my friend. She would try and break up with him, but he was very jealous, so he wouldn't leave her alone. I wanted to stand up for her, so I texted Timothy. She's been hurt enough by you, and I don't understand why you can't leave her alone. He responded, do you always have to be so annoying and ruin my day? You don't even know what this is about. This was only the beginning of the mean comments. He was about to continue to attack me with his words. He said things like, Natasha, shut up. No one likes you, and no one cares about you. I tried to defend myself by responding to these terrible things. I said, I don't understand why you're so mad. This is when he said the worst comment of all. I heard the notification of his text go off. I looked at the message, expecting him to say another mean thing, but I did not expect this. Kill yourself, Natasha. In that moment, all I could think to myself was, I personally would never wish death upon anyone. I was so hurt by this comment, I thought to myself, what if all the things he's saying are true? And what if everyone thinks these things about me? I stopped talking to him after this day. But this wasn't the end of his attacks. He kept trying to call me over and over, but I would ignore his calls. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore, so I answered his call. When I answered, he started screaming at me and calling me names. Before I hung up, he said again to me, kill yourself. That night I went on Instagram. I found that he had all his friends go on social media and make nasty comments about me. I didn't understand why he would do this or what I had done so wrong for him to be treating me this way. It finally ended when I had to fill out a survey at the beginning of 8th grade. One of the questions was, do you ever feel down? I, of course, answered yes because of how terrible all these comments had made me feel. The nurse called me into her office to talk about my answer. That's when I told her everything. She told me that she was going to report all of this to my assistant principal, Mr. Womack. The next morning, I was called down to Mr. Womack's office to see what he could do to help in the situation. When I walked in, Timothy was sitting there. I was so nervous because this was the person who had been making me miserable for so long. I slowly sat down and waited for Mr. Womack to say something. When he started talking, he said, "So Timothy and I have been talking, and he wants to apologize for what he said to you." In that moment, he was crying, apologized, and said, of course he wanted to be friends, but this was all a lie. It did not take long for him to start talking badly about me again. Now we don't talk, and I'm glad. Sometimes when I look at him, I think, wow, this is the kid who put me through days of crying and anxiety attacks. How could I ever want to be his friend? My story had made me realize that as much as this hurts and you don't want to tell anyone, it is so important to tell someone. The more people you open up to, the less pain you go through. If you don't ever tell anyone, your emotions get gathered up and you suffer even more. I'm happy that I was able to share my story with you because this is a worldwide problem. It is happening so much now because of all the different types of social media. I never want anyone to suffer the way I did.